I'll call this meeting to order. Today is Monday, January the 29th, 2024. It is 2 p.m. We're in the central jury room of the Ralph H. Walton Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. Today we have with us again the chaplain of the Hood County Commissioners Court, the illustrious Mike McMahon, to give us the invocation.
Father, thank you for the way you love us, and thank you for the way you take care of us. And through this court, we pray that you will be heard, that your will be done, and that the joy of serving you will prevail. And we thank you for that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the pledge to the great state of Texas. Honor the Texas flag.
I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas,
One state, under God, one and indivisible. Okay. All right, we have two items on this special called meeting. The first one is to discuss and consider entering into a maintenance contract with JTS covering the Hood County Microwave Link SLA radio towers and equipment. Sheriff, and
I was told by a commissioner that he didn't get the stuff that I'd sent, or so does anybody need a copy of this?
We just got it. I just got it an hour ago from you. Thank you.
I sent it to Brenda.
I have a copy.
Okay.
Okay, we received a proposal for a bill from JTS for $33,315.98 from, and I don't remember the exact date, 3 weeks ago, when we had some microwaves, or parts of the microwaves. I think it's the part that goes into the big round microwave that comes, or the coax attached to it. I don't remember the name of the part. An ODU, whatever that is. But it was broke. We had two broke ODUs, and they had to climb towers to find them. And so over the course of 3 days, then they came up with this bill. And we said, well, wait a minute here. This stuff was just brand new. It was switched on like 3 months ago or so. So they had labor and travel for 3 days, and then it says quantity 25, remote support, remote PTP network troubleshooting. Anyway, the grand total was $33,315.98. So they said, we don't have a contract. We've got the maintenance contract with Harris Radio. We paid this separate as far as the bill for Harris was paid, the maintenance, all that. And JTS, we had the tower out at Diamond A built. And a lot of the parts and pieces, the microwaves, that was paid for separate from the Harris, L3 Harris stuff. And they said, I was told that the warranty started when they shipped the parts out. And that was like 1.5 years ago, and they've been sitting waiting to be put up on the towers. Finally, they got put up, and then these ODU units went out, and now they want us to pay this bill. So we said, what if we paid the bill? How can we get this set up as a service contract? So if we pay that bill, then the service contract will be good. This is a DIR company, so the contract that is quoted, formatted, and is good until 5/28 of '26. So that's a better deal to think that, then this will cover everything for the future. Hopefully nothing goes wrong, but that sounds better. We did have Matt Mills look at this. He was sent this contract on Tuesday of last week, and Friday he got it back to me, and I got it out. And the only adjustments he made to it was they put downtime instead of downtown. 3 little changes that he recommended, but most of it was just little minor things, so we can check to see about having that done. So that's kind of where we're at. We're between a rock and a hard place. When this went down, we didn't really notice a whole lot of problems, or any problems really, to tell you the truth, except for the paging for the fire departments went down. So they were, that was messed up because the way it was routed was through a gateway unit, and that system went down because of those microwaves. So that's how it affected Hood County this last weekend. Sean, that's here standing next to me, has access to look at the system, and it showed that there were some glitches going on Friday, but everything stayed up and running. So we were lucky, but that's why I wanted to get this before you guys, to take action on this before something else went down. I hate to come before you, after this system just got up and running, because everything has been great with the radio reception and all that, but it depends on those towers and those microwaves, and so here we are. Do you got any questions? We had requested, or I thought we'd requested that JTS was going to come down, but they're on the phone right now, so we can unmute, have them unmute so we can ask any questions that you want. I don't know how that's going to work, but.
So it's going to be John Thompson. He's the JTS person that's going to be on the phone to ask questions to.
He's their general manager out of Dallas. So he's the highest level guy I've ever talked to there.
So is this for work already done, or
So
for work
this is
that
what the-
we're contracting for a service in the future? I'm
So
confused. I
what
thought
they-
it was for service in the future.
Both.
Right, so they want to wrap up the work they did on that weekend. They're going to wrap that up into this contract, and they're just going to backdate it to the date that the system went down. And John's going to explain all that to you. Can you unmute him?
Because that was my other question, is it says that this contract starts on May 28, 2024, so I didn't understand what the rush was to have a special called meeting when the contract doesn't start until May 28th.
We were worried about it going down over the weekend.
But the contract still doesn't start until May.
John, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so the commissioners have some questions for you. I guess the first one is that when we talked, the service contract was going to start on the day that the towers went down, but the contract is saying, you said May 24th, ma'am?
Well, it's a little confusing because it says contract term end date for DIR CPO 4792 is 5/26/2024. Expiration date of this contract is 5/28/2026. So I didn't know if end date was just a mistake, because like you said, there's other mistakes in here, and that was supposed to say effective date, or what? So what is the 5/28/2024 date?
That's actually. 2024 date was basically at the beginning of the system. So let me clear up that quote just a little bit for you. And can you hear me okay? Let me make sure of that.
Yep.
Yeah, we hear you.
So, gotcha. So the very first thing is, this is put into a DR contract, which I know is one of the means that we have worked with you guys in the past for your purchasing department. Now, that contract that you see at the very top with the format there, you will see that it ends in 2026. Now, that just lets you know that we are good on our DR contract until 2026. That's what we have to put on each quote for our DR contract to you guys. So that's the terminology that you see at the very top of that. The actual term of the SLA that I am proposing, it has dates on there, and it would expire within a 1-year period. Now, like I told Sean, is that since we did not have an SLA in place already, to cover those, to cover the service calls that we did 2 weekends ago, we can backdate that, and then we can make that date cover, the SLA cover from those dates going forward. So it would be good for a period of 1 year. That way, the entirety of, you're not being invoiced right now. This is not a bill. This is a quote for an SLA. This would incorporate multiple trips and keep you covered for the period of 1 year. And what I told Sean in Hood County was, underneath this, I will roll the invoice that we would normally be sending right now, since there was not an SLA in place. That will be rolled underneath this, and it will be paid for out of this. So you will not receive a separate invoice. If you move forward with this SLA, this would be the entirety of it, and it would cover you for an entire year, and it would take into account for the service trips that we've already performed 2 weeks ago. I'll pause there.
Okay, so just so we all understand, the dates that are on the top of this first page, where it says pricing in accordance with State of Texas DIR contract, that's just your contract with DIR, effective and expiration. That's not the contract dates of the SLA. Is that correct?
That's accurate, yes, ma'am.
Okay, where are the dates of the SLA? I didn't find any other dates in here anywhere.
Give me 1 second, let me pull it up. I want to pull it up, that way I can direct you to it.
Oh, it's back on the first page.
I don't see any dates.
The dates are not on this. I had discussed those dates in an email with Sean. It was a matter of, I wanted to get it as the lane in hand. Obviously, I did not put the dates at the top of it, but ultimately, those dates would be for a period of 1 year from the time that we did the service calls, so the service calls would fit underneath the SLA, which I can add those to this quote and resend it as a revision.
Okay, so you're saying sometime around January 12th through January 12th of 2025?
Hold on, I have the date right here. So when the date I got the call was on January 13th, 2024. So that's when I originally got the first call from Harris Radio.
Okay. So 1/13/24 to 1/13/25 or 1/12/25?
1/12/25, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, that helps because I didn't understand those dates at all.
So in the emails, it's clarified, trying to figure out how it would work, because he's trying to get us not to get billed from the work that we did, just roll it all underneath that one contract.
Okay. Okay, so, should I just?
No, go ahead.
So you mentioned that there were some things that Matt noticed, and so it's probably the same things that I noticed. So if you're going to revise this, you might as well add these things to it. Under summary, it says, it's just a grammar error. It says Hood County have. It should say Hood County has.
Gotcha.
And then on minor outage, this is an assumption, but I think it should say a minor outage is defined as instead of on.
Gotcha.
This one right here.
And then the downtime, yeah, it said downtown,
Yeah, he got that one.
yeah.
That's one of those auto-correct things. I apologize for that.
Yeah.
I did not catch that when I was reviewing.
Okay, I have some other questions regarding the content, but I'll pause there in case anyone else wants to chime in.
Yeah, okay. Was there not any kind of warranty initially with this? Because, I mean, this system's only been up and running for about 3-4 months. So I noticed that it said, you know, there's pass-through of the original manufacturer and that started the date of delivery. Where are we on all of that? Is that?
So,
Yes, that is correct. The radios actually do have a warranty, and it was done whenever they were ordered and they were delivered shop, that's when the warranty is done, whenever the radios get delivered. So that is active, yes, sir. Now, but that does not incorporate into that, actually going and getting the radios and doing the repairs and actually responding to service trips on that. The warranty does not cover those items. It just covers the actual radio hardware and any malfunction of those radios. That's what the warranties would cover.
So there's basically a parts-only warranty here and not really labor other than defective workmanship directly on you guys? Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is accurate.
Well, on that first page, it says that JTS warrants its workmanship for a period of 1 calendar year from date of installation. If you're saying it was only installed 3 or 4 months ago, this is not parts. Workmanship is separate and apart from workmanship. So shouldn't it be covered under JTS's workmanship?
That's an excellent point. That is correct. If it was our installation error, absolutely 100%, that would be on us, and we would not even be having this conversation, and I would not bill you for that. But it is a radio issue, and those radios are being made back to the manufacturer so they can be repaired. It was worked out with the manufacturer while we were on that service call to make sure that it was an actual radio issue and not installation error or issue that we had done. So it was not a warranty item for our workmanship.
Well, isn't there an implied warranty, Mr. Mills, of, you know, when you buy something, there's an implied warranty that goes along with something, whether it's stated or not, for a certain period of time. And that's kind of a question for you too, Glenn. These radios were purchased through a co-op or what was on the, isn't the product itself guaranteed for a certain period of time?
I mean, I wouldn't put it as a guaranteed for a certain period, but I mean, basically, there's lemon laws and stuff. I mean, if you sell a piece of junk, then there's a recourse in civil litigation if you sell defective product.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, a 3-month, for what we paid for these radios, it's been a long time since I had UCC on the deal, but when you buy something, I think that's what it was called back then, and I could be totally mistaken, but it's an implied warranty for a certain period of time that the manufacturer is responsible for it. Well, for a radio system of this value, 3 months, and it goes out? Isn't that what we're saying, 3 months? Is that the period that these radios were up and weren't running?
No, sir. They've been up and running quite a lot longer than that.
How long?
These radios, oh, go ahead.
So, hold on, John. So the system, so we went live 3 to 4 months ago. That's live for us using it. But they've been installed longer than that because they install them, then they test them, and then like me and Tyler would drive around with the radios, making sure they work. There was drive testing. So the microwaves, John, have probably been up for over a year now, haven't they? Maybe?
Yes, that is accurate.
Yeah, we've only been live 3 to 4 months, but
Well, how are we going to know okay, that's great, but how are we going to know there's anything wrong until we are able to tap into it? I mean, I agree with the judge. We've been online for 4 months, right?
we signed.
And JTS sold the radios to us, right?
Right. Well, yes.
So it's like buying a car and putting it in your garage until the warranty runs out, and then driving it and find out it's a lemon.
So so before we sign for it, there's a whole bunch of testing that goes into place. Like we had Harris and JTS. I mean, it took 3 months just to get signed off because of all the testing, and JTS had to come back up here, realign microwaves and stuff like that. So there's a lot of testing that went into place before we actually signed for it.
Well, so that's when the warranty should start.
That I don't know.
I mean, until they say, okay, everything's right, I mean, why would we pay for all the testing before as a warranty issue? I'm asking these rhetorically, because it's, you know, of course, I just got all this handed to me, you know, coming in here, but, so the next question is, what's the tie-in to, we got a JTS standard terms and conditions, 3 pages. So where's the connection between these two documents? Did you, Mr. Mills? Well, it's like, I don't see the reference over to, we got standard terms and conditions where I don't like a clause number 5, contract cancellation clause in there, but the question I've got is where's the connection between standard terms and conditions and the, I guess, the proposal that I'm looking at?
Quote. I don't,
That's what he said that he was going to send us. This gentleman we're talking to is going to send us another document that says that if we pay this bill of $33,000 to him, it's going to include a 1-year warranty from 1/13/2024 to 1/12/2025. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, they're going to wrap up the, oh, sorry, John, go ahead.
going to revise this document that we have. It's not.
We need another document that
we need
says
a-
that,
We need a new document, yes.
additional document.
It'll be a document that'll encompass the service contract. So they laid out in this what, they didn't have a service contract. We didn't enter into one of those agreements. So they spelled it out, and it cost $33,315. This standard terms and fees, this is their standard terms and fees that we've been getting ever since we started working with JTS for building the tower up at the law enforcement center, the tower up at the Diamond A. That's their standard terms of conditions that they put with every quote.
Well, there's still a possibility that when they get these radios checked, or whatever he said, since this gentleman is saying that it was not workmanship that caused the failure of the system, that it was the radios themselves, then possibly we can get the money back from the manufacturer of the radios, the $33,000. Am I right on that?
John, you want to answer that?
I will. So I just want to clear one thing up. If I were to send you an invoice right now just for the service trip, it would not be $33,000. It would be a lot less than that for the time that we've spent. This is to cover you for the period of another year, to have us on retainer. If you call us anytime, we're going to come and respond. That's what this SLA is. And it also incorporates, if we do have to take those radios down and RMA them, it takes that into account as well. So back to your question on should the radio manufacturer will warranty their radios, but they will not warranty, they will not pay for having somebody climb a tower, take that radio down and RMA it. They won't pay for that process, but they will pay if it is their fault on the radio.
Well, okay, well, that $33,000 bill then needs to be bifurcated or itemized as to what is a future service contract and then what was necessary to go up there and remove the defective radios in the first place. Because that's what we should be getting back from the manufacturer of the radios. So it's not going to cost the county the full $33,000. We don't mind paying you as long as we look to get some of this money back. I understand we're going to be paying a future service contract, which I think is a smart move. Don't mind that at all. I think that's great. But the first part of it, the itemization of having to remove a defective radio, you're saying that they will not pay for that, but the manufacturer of the radios are going to pay for the radios?
I don't think we know that.
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, sir, that is correct. If it is deemed that the radio is bad, they usually will either they'll send out a replacement on that radio to where they'll make you whole on those radios. And just so we're clear, luckily there were spares bought underneath the project, so of course those spares were put into place where we could get you guys back operational for your tom. And then those radios
gonna ask.
that were damaged,
Good move.
the field they came back and then we RMA'd them and shipped them back to the manufacturer.
Okay.
Just so you have a clear picture of what exactly happened.
So
To answer your question, that's accurate. They will replace the radios. They will not cost you anything. But as far as the work to take the radio, as far as the service trips go, that's on JPS. That's us just rolling out there to check your radios and take those down and troubleshoot what's going on with it. And so that's what that is. Any invoice you get from us is just for the work that we're performing and has nothing to do with CLO, who is the manufacturer.
So what is you said if you were to send us a bill for the work to replace the radios, what would that be? You said it's not the $33,000, it's some other number.
Yes, ma'am. It would just be for the 2 times that we had to come out. I believe it was on the 13th or 15th or 16th, whenever we came out. It would be a lot less. I don't have that number in front of me at this exact moment in time, but you're probably looking at somewhere in between 10 and 12 because it was done over the weekends and after hours, and the number of hours that were worked. So it would be somewhere in that neighborhood.
10 to 12,000? Is that what you're saying?
So it's just like I said, it's that bill, the $33,000 includes 2 parts. One is the service contracts to come out there and get it up and repaired over the weekend, the 2 trips or whatever, and then replacing the faulty radios. I got that. And you said that's between $10,000 and $12,000. So roughly then, the service contract is like $21,000 then for years. Is that correct? Approximately.
You're thinking along the right lines. Ultimately, the way that we do service contracts is we put a number of trips and also remote support into it. And so what we're doing is I'm going to take off some service trips off of the SLA, so that if you went forward with this SLA for that amount that you see there at $33,000, what I'm going to do is take 2 trips away from that, which will still, you'll have a remaining trip underneath your service level agreement for the rest of the year. But you will not receive a separate invoice past this $33,000 because this would keep you covered for an entire year. And those service trips that we've already done would be paid for underneath this.
Okay.
So, sounds,
Does that make sense, or do I need to clear that up a little bit more?
well, I think just a suggestion, I think when you revise this proposal under, I don't know whether it was classified as a minor or a major outage, but you should maybe let's just say it's minor, that you would say 2 labor, travel, minor outage at 8,000, whatever, and then list the date of 1/13/24 as already used. So we had 2 to use, and we've already used 1. Or, as the judge says, just give us 2 documents, one that shows what the bill is for the work already done, and one for future maintenance or future SLA work. I don't know. Either way.
Yes, ma'am, I can absolutely do that and show that, and I will 100% on the revision whenever I send that through. When I initially sent it, we had some conversations going back and forth, and I just wanted a clear path on which way I submit it, but that absolutely will work, and I can make that happen where it's itemized so you can see what each service trip, whether it's a minor, major, or critical, what you would pay for each of those trips, and then I can denote that the trips that were used for the service calls that we've already done previously.
That work for you, Judge?
Yeah, as long as we're not going to be charged for any radios, we think those are going to be under warranty with the manufacturer of the radios, correct? And this is just for the workmanship, and the county will not be billed any more than the $33,000, and that includes the service contract through 2025, right?
One year from
26. I mean 26.
25.
You still be covered underneath this SLA, and that'll keep you from having to pay anything else out of pocket. That keeps us on retainer for you if anything were to go wrong with your with your network, and we will respond immediately to get it fixed up depending on the service level.
Well, and I misspoke there. With that addendum from 1/13 of 2024 to 1/12/2025, and then the contract itself up here is from 5/28/2026. So if we pay the $33,000, we don't have to be worried about another bill from JTS through 5/28 of 2026, correct?
No, that's what I was clarifying at the beginning. That's their contract with DIR. That doesn't have anything to do with this service level contract. That was very confusing. That's
That's accurate. The very first thing you see there is the expiration of our DIR contract. Whenever we send quotes to you guys, we usually do it on a DIR contract, and so we have to put that at the top of every single quote that we send out. As he also pointed out, I did not have the dates on here yet because I was asking Sean and Hood County how they would like that. If they would like for me to take into account for the service trips that have already been used so that I can backdate it, which will be January 13th, 2024, and then it'll expire on January 15th, 2025.
January 12th, 2025.
Okay, so, okay, let me try to simplify this in my mind and make sure I've got it right. Okay, let's say you're building a house and you put somebody's dishwasher in that house. The dishwasher has failed, and I call you and say, come change this dishwasher out. The manufacturer of the dishwasher is responsible to give me the new dishwasher, make that hold, but you still need to be paid for your labor to come swap that out, correct? Is that kind of an appropriate analogy? Okay. So the second question, the contract here, the service contract, you're basically giving us an allowance of 6 trips out here in a year, correct? 2 minors, 2 majors, and 2 criticals? Is that what this is laying out here?
25.
Yeah, and 25 hours of remote troubleshooting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, I got you. So if you were to just bill us for what you've done already, it would be a critical outage trip and maybe a major?
Yes, sir. It'd be one critical and 1 minor.
Okay, gotcha. So would that be roughly $10,000? I kind of putting you on the spot here, but I mean, is that where you are, or is that under the contract, these prices are going to be significantly less than what you're actually charging to come out?
Underneath the contract, it will be less. To use the trips rather than the need to invoice you, straight up, it will actually be less because
Gotcha.
there is a discount offered for going with an SLA.
Okay,
Whenever I do that up front, and that's what I'm basically putting out there on that contract. Hey, if you do it this way, it would be less money for you, and then you'll be covered for an entire year.
gotcha.
That's what we usually do for customers that have a service level agreement. It's a little bit less than if we were just going to bill you directly for our time used, especially on a weekend and after hours.
Okay, yeah, no, I was just making sure that I was clear on exactly what we're looking at there, so.
I got it.
So he just took the 8383 for the minor, divided by 2 is about a little over $4,000. And the critical divided by 2 is about a little over 6,000. So that's where he's coming up with the 10,000.
But I think that if outside of the contract, it might be
Yeah.
15,000 for those 2 trips or whatever that number.
Do we pay this up front, or do we just pay this if you have to? So if you don't have to come out anymore for an entire year, do we still pay the balance of the other $23,000 right now? So this is an insurance policy that if we don't use it, we paid the money, right? Which way is it?
No, you have it correct. If you had this and you had those service trips, and we're also on retainers to respond to those service levels, if we do not have a contract with you, you can still absolutely call us and we will respond with our best efforts. If we have guys that we can roll, we will roll them immediately. If we don't, and we have other jobs that we're tied up on, and we're not able to get to you immediately, then that's going to be whenever we can get our best effort to get out there. If you have an SLA, I have to guarantee that I'm going to be there at a certain time, underneath those service levels that I'm proposing there. And so that's why you would pay up front for the SLA.
Okay, whether we use it or not, right?
And say, hey, we'll take our chances, and we'll call you whenever we need you. And then could you basically just have an open PO of a certain amount, and then you just call us out when you need it? You can definitely handle it that way too. We have other customers that do that. It just depends on the severity level of your system and your communication network. And if you want somebody on retainer to take care of you to where you can call them and no matter what they're responding at that exact moment, or if you're okay with waiting for a little bit, it's totally up to you.
Okay, so whether we use you again or not, say we go through with this, sign this SLA quote/contract when it becomes a contract, we pay the $33,000 to cover what you've already done plus any future events. If we have no more future events, we're paying for an insurance policy, I guess is a better way to look at it. We're contracting for 2 events of each type for 2 years, whether we use it or not. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, and I can tell you,
Okay.
I can tell you this. This is one thing that we do for every single one of our customers. If you have anything remaining on your contract at the end of it, we come out and perform a maintenance check on every single part of your radio system. And so if you have unused trips, we will use that to come out and actually check on your radio system, make sure that it's good to go for another year. If you renew for another year, that's what those service trips will be used for. So it wouldn't be just totally, if you have anything left over, we're not just going to waste it. We will actually come out and perform physical on-site assessment of exactly how the system is working. We will check everything from top to bottom to make sure nothing needs to be repaired, anything like that. It could cause a problem.
Would you consider that preventative maintenance? Would you classify that as preventative maintenance?
That's accurate.
Okay.
And we didn't do that when we got the new radios online 4 months ago?
Not for this JTS system. I guess we had everything going on, and it was paid for separate, so we need to get a separate service contract. Like I was stating earlier, the reason I wanted this to get before the next Commissioners Court is because we had some glitches showing up over the weekend, and we just want to make sure this doesn't go out again, and we have more bills. So I would really request that we get this service contract and get things going to keep things running.
Well, I don't think we can execute anything today because we don't have a valid contract.
Correct. But I bet.
So what do you got, what do you have in mind for where the money comes out?
Well, that's what Glenn asked if I had budgeted money. No, you guys set the budget. We don't have any extra money like that. So I guess Fund 55, my money from the state hadn't come in.
I was going to ask that. When's that coming?
I have no idea.
But this would be an approved expense from that?
That's true. It might not be. So,
That's a question for Margaret, I guess.
yeah, well, anyway, we need to get this done before then, so.
Okay, so,
Here's the
Yeah.
deal, this is critical to the functioning of the
Yes.
county.
Yeah, we
This
got
is
it.
something we can't even think about. I mean, we've got to have this radio system for the fire, the police, and everything else. We've got to do it. I think we have a thorough understanding. I think I understand it now.
And the bigger problem is where the errors happen is at the peak. And so you have the Granbury network circle, then you have the Hood County circle, then you have the Stephenville PD circle. So we lost pagers, but Stephenville PD and Stephenville Fire were down for 2 days while I tried to fix this problem.
Yeah.
So it all plays part of the system. So if mine goes down, somebody else is having some issues. So
Yeah.
that's why
Well,
I know we have to get this contract, but I'm worried about the glitches we're having now and trying to make sure that I have something to respond to.
yeah,
I'm too old to climb
I
towers.
think so too. I think they understand us. I think so too. Is there anything else that, if not, I'd like to make a motion
Oh.
that we go ahead and pay this $33,000, subject to the contingency that we get the additional document that says that we're covered from 1/13/2024 through 1/12/2025, and subject to the revisions in the contract that Mr. Mills has pointed out and Commissioner Samuelson has pointed out.
Well, I do have some other things to go through. So similar to what Commissioner Eagle said, is there's nothing in this quote that relates it to the terms and conditions, so that needs to be in there. On the, the paragraph that starts under installation materials, fiber cables, power cables, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It says if there's a failure of an installation material item that causes the outage, it will be replaced and charged to Hood County. But then in the next paragraph, it's talking about you're going to maintain our inventory. So if it's replaced from our inventory, then it shouldn't be charged to Hood County, because that would be double charging us. So I think that needs to be clarified. And then in the next paragraph, where it's talking about an inventory of all equipment will be kept at JTS. If a spare piece of equipment is used, the inventory will be updated and sent to, I would suggest that it says Hood County Purchasing, because Laura Self is the one who keeps up with all of our inventory, and that it says ITS will provide updates and recommendations on spare equipment. I think it needs to say this needs to be kept by Laura Self and audited by Hood County Purchasing, because you probably have contracts with a lot of different counties, organizations, and keeping our inventory accurate and ensuring that our inventory is being used for our projects and not someone else's, and that we're being charged for someone else's use of inventory. I think this needs to be clarified and be very specific. But it also says that on the next paragraph, once the replacement unit is returned, it will be placed back into the spare storage area where the other Hood County spares are located. And then I would say these records need to also be sent to Hood County Purchasing on either a monthly or a quarterly basis, so that Laura can keep up with the inventory. I mean, this is a lot of expensive equipment, and we need to make sure that it's accounted for. It's our obligation to the taxpayers to make sure that we're accounting for these things. So, and then on the next line, it says, after the warranty expires, a radio becomes damaged, the unit can still be sent in with an RMA and repaired at a cost. What does that mean, a cost? Is there repaired, I'm not even sure this should be in here, because you're not repairing the radio. You're going to send it to whoever the radio manufacturer is, correct?
That is correct. And basically that's just saying that if it is out of warranty, if there is a radio out of warranty, and we RMA it, and there's a cost for repair, then that would be an additional charge if the radio is out of warranty. If that is found, and of course you don't have to worry about that for quite a while, but it is something to keep in mind. And I'll stop there.
Okay, so I'm not sure that belongs in this. I guess you can talk about that, but it doesn't have to do with the service you're providing. It's with another manufacturer. Okay, and then invoicing notes, any material or equipment used that is not provided by the customer will be billed per service call. So we would need a detailed invoice sent to purchasing to review the inventory to ensure we're not being double billed, because you're saying you're going to look, you have to use a cable or whatever that apparently wasn't in our inventory, but then Laura looks and said, we had 6 of those, so why are you billing us for using a cable that we had? So I just think that there's a lot of loose ends here that need to be cleared up. I agree that this needs to get done, and we're in a critical spot right now, but that doesn't mean we should rush and sign a contract that's got a lot of problems with it.
And yes, ma'am, I understand, and I can correct all of those. And some of that stuff, as you can imagine, like you said, I deal with a lot of different cities, different counties, different organizations, and so I try to fit what's going to fit best for most into the description and into the scope of the service level agreement. However, it can be edited and made to exactly what you want it to be.
Okay,
And that's not an issue.
one more thing that related to the inventory. In the other document, under article, paragraph, whatever you're calling it, 15, it says that you're going to charge us $350 per month for storing our inventory.
And then also, keep in mind, I would imagine, with the way that you just explained how you need to keep up with your inventory control, and since how everything was given to Hood, and it is in Hood's possession currently, in Hood County's possession currently, I'll probably take everything that has anything to do with inventory control totally out of the contract to where it'll just be on Hood County to maintain that. And I'll just add in that if there are any RMAs, such as these spare radios, that are now spare radios, whenever they come back, we'll ship them back to Hood County, and so that they can put them into their spares. It'll be something of that nature rather than what you're seeing there. And then separate of that, I'll go ahead and take the TNC at the bottom of that completely out so that it won't contradict the service level agreement in the new revised contract that I send over. Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
I'm looking at Sean. He's
yeah,
the one-
I would keep control of the inventory.
Okay.
That way I know what we have, because we got lucky this time.
Okay.
And if we need to access it on like a night or a weekend too.
I don't
And that-
want to call in Miss Self to come in and pull parts if it's kept with her. We have a place we can put it, and
Yeah.
me and Tyler will
makes-
go grab it.
Yeah, I didn't mean she would physically have the inventory, just that she would be responsible for the accounting of it. If they're using it and buying stuff and putting it in the inventory, that she would have to manage that. But if you want to,
I already keep
Whatever-
track of all the Harris spare parts, so I'll just put them with the JTS spare parts.
okay. And that won't slow them down as far as any
No, because I'll
service
just throw
call.
them in the car whenever we have to go to like the peak or anything, and they'll have all the spare parts, whatever you need to do to get the system back up.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I'm going to pull my motion from the current, I think.
I'd like to make a motion that, given the conversation that we've had, we pay with a not to exceed of $12,000 for the services that have rendered pending, and then the receipt of a new and updated contract, for the balance to be looked at it, like at next court if we have it by then. Sir?
Paid from where you
Fund 55.
Fund 55, yes. But that's a $12,000 not to exceed based on the conversation that's been, given.
I'll second that.
You're asking us to pay for something we haven't seen any invoice for.
right, yeah, and I don't know as though, I think that this is a discounted price. I don't think that this is the price that we would pay if we were out of contract. Is that correct, John?
That is correct.
So,
So is it all or nothing right
we
now?
haven't
That doesn't
seen
make
this.
sense.
we haven't seen this price yet. We haven't seen what the invoice for the work that was done would be.
Well, he just told us somewhere between 10 and 12, and the commissioner said up to 12 to pay what they've already done.
Would 12 cover it, what's already been done? I guess I misunderstood that.
Are you saying that, John, are you saying that if we separate it, it won't be the same price, or can we separate it and it'll still be the same price?
If you're moving forward with the first portion, if you're saying that, hey, I will go ahead and approve that 12 for the first two, and then moving forward later, whenever the revised contract gets done, I can honor the pricing, no problem at all. But if you're just moving forward with just the 2 service trips without moving towards the SLA, I'll have to send that invoice to you with what I said it was earlier, that I don't have in front of me currently. So it's not an all or nothing. I will honor the prices that you see there on the invoice that is sent over to you. And then if you move forward with the other part of the SLA, then that can be added on to it. If that's the way that you guys need to move forward, I can make that work.
Can I ask a question about
Yeah.
this?
Please do.
Okay, so I know that I'm sitting on error codes right now about the microwave links. If I get another call this weekend that the microwaves go down and I got to call JTS, how is that billing going to work? If we pay the $12,000 now, we don't have the service contract in place? Because I'm sitting on error codes right now.
I mean,
And I've
that's a question for John. Are you willing to honor that, knowing that we're moving forward with the service contract? Hello?
You say I can move forward with that. If you're going to move forward once I get it revised in your hands the way that you need it to approve it, yes, I can honor that in the spirit of that we're moving forward. I can do that.
So if something happens tomorrow,
Right, because I'm hoping not, but I am sitting on error codes, and I'm just hoping that whatever's going on with these links stays up and running, and that we don't go down again. So I've been holding off to see what the decision was forward before I actually put in a trouble ticket to have somebody come out and look at them.
so I think I heard you say you would honor that it would be counted as one of these trips.
Okay.
Is that what you said, John?
Repeat what you just said again, sorry?
What Sean is asking, if he has to call you, you're working on getting us a revised contract with all the corrected information, but that's going to take a day or 2 or 3. I don't know how long it'll take you. But then we have to come back to court. And we don't have court again. I guess you could call another special called meeting. That'd be fine. But it's going to be a few days anyway. So if something happens tomorrow and you have to come out, are you going to honor it as part of the SLA?
Yes, on record, yes, I would.
Okay, so basically what we're all saying here is in good faith, we intend on entering into this service agreement with the dates going back before the first event and then working off the service contract from there forward. We just have to get the terms of it correct.
Yes.
So I think that's kind of what we're shooting for here.
I agree.
So, I think eventually we're going to write a check for $33,000 and everything that has been done would be included in that contract. And then anything that happens tomorrow or whatever would also be under the terms of that contract. So,
That would be with appropriate documentation of the contract.
so I don't know what.
Have a motion and a second.
Well, but was the motion not to write a check for what's already been done under the
But
terms of these
He
contracts?
hasn't withdrawn it, so,
My motion was we authorize payment with the proper invoice of not to exceed of $12,000 for the work that's been performed to date.
oops.
Well, but I think our intention is to go ahead and be fully in this
I
contract.
don't disagree with that, but we've got to have a revised, wording of
Right.
the contract, where we've got, something that we're comfortable with.
Right, and I think what John is saying is, yeah, all of this will be under the terms of the contract. Let's just start the contract on the 12th or 13th of January, and it'll all be under that. So
rather
I
than
think we
making-
can go ahead and let this ride until we get a new contract, and then,
And then, yeah.
is that okay, John? Are you agreeable to that?
Did you just wait a minute, where are we?
It's a motion and a second. We're during
I mean, we-
discussion.
We got a motion on the table and a
Second.
second, and you just changed it all. Where are we?
Right. No, I'm asking for clarification, that if we do come to terms on this, it's going to be revised to the whatever date and then be all under that contract, or are we going to pay now, whatever that is, and then start the contract at a later date with error codes going right now?
No, the way I understand it, the motion is to pay for the work that's already been done, and that John will in the new contract, he'll document that as whatever it was, minor or major, or whatever,
Critical and one minor.
and show that it's already been paid. So then, instead of 33,000, it'll be 22,000 or 21,000. Is that
Okay,
correct?
all right. I'm clear on that now, okay.
Is that correct, John?
Yes.
Okay.
All
Motion
right.
and a
I
second.
got you, okay. That makes sense.
From Fund 55, was that your motion, Fund 55?
Yes.
Okay.
I still stand by my motion.
And I still second it.
All
All
right.
right.
Okay, any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you all
I'm sorry
very
for all
much.
this.
Okay, thank you, John. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sheriff. Okay, this brings us to the second and last item on here, is to discuss and consider for approval Hood County paying for 50 lunches from Paradise Bistro and Coffee Company for the intergovernment meeting on Wednesday, January 31st, 2024 at 10:30 a.m. The reason I put this on here is that I guess it was the mayor or Chris Kaufman or both of them that says the next time we have another intergovernment meeting, isn't it about time for the county to start paying for the lunch that the city has paid the last 4 or 5 times that we've had an intergovernment meeting? And I said, well, what I'll do is that I will put it on the agenda and we'll discuss it and then vote on it. So based upon the fact that I called them and I had my staff call and ask them, where do they get the lunches? Because I always thought they were sufficient, and how many did they get? And they said that they did the Paradise lunch, and I've attached that to the deal that they do a platter, medium, a large platter, and a Cobb salad for $503, or they did a box lunch, I guess, for $50 at $10 a piece. So it's what I put on here. I think that it's only fair that the county do its part on the deal, so that's why I put it on here, but it's subject to whatever the Commissioners Court wants to do. So, open up for,
The school board paid for it one time, too.
do what?
The school board paid one time, too, I believe.
Yeah, I think that's right, too. I forgot about that, but I did that. So I think it's kind of incumbent upon the county that we go ahead and do that, so, anyway.
Why do we need
Anybody-
50?
What?
Why do we need 50? There's not 50 people in the city council, and
That's what they've always ordered, okay? I've done what they've always done before.
okay, it just seems like that's a lot of waste.
So the audience can eat also.
Do what?
So the people in the audience can eat also like.
Yeah,
me.
that's what some of the
Some
people.
have, yes.
So we're-
I just figured that's what the city's done. Now that you reminded me, the school, I think that is right. That does refresh my memory. I think, well, let me go ahead. I'll make the motion that the county go ahead and provide the lunches at from Paradise Beach, Paradise Cafe, like the city has provided the last 4 or 5 times, and I think, like Ms. Lanham said, I think that the school district provided one time. So I think it's only fair that the county should pay for lunches, and that's what they always do, is they do 50 lunches from Paradise Cafe. So that's my motion. Open it up for discussion.
Well, I just don't like the fact that we're asking the taxpayers to pay for our lunch. I mean, we could bring our lunch, I guess, or go have it on our own.
I'll put a
Whereas-
$100 bill up here, and I'll pay for this out of my pocket. I eat
pay
free.
100. With
I'll
you,
I'll
Angela,
pay
would you
free.
Let's do that,
I eat
yes.
free.
I would
enough.
rather-
Pay 100? Will you pay 100?
I would rather do
Okay.
that than have it come out of
Good.
the taxpayers.
All right, based upon that, I like that very much. So I pull my motion on the deal because the County Commissioners Court will each pay it by paying $100 apiece.
That's a good idea, thank you.
I think that's a great idea.
All right.
The school
Thank
board
you.
can do what they want, and so can the city.
All right. With that, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.